Hello my gorgeous ones, welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. On my channel, I love affordable fashion, beauty, skincare. I like to do hauls, tutorials, and actually this one is a saving you money. It's not like one of my massive hauls I've been doing. This is a review of a bunch of palettes that I picked out in a previous video if you guys want to check it out, because I went on a palette no-buy, you guys, about 2.5 months ago. I only broke for 2 palettes that were extenuating circumstances, okay? But I've been really good and decided to shop my own collection, and I had a ton of palettes I hadn't touched yet. And these are just a few. I'm going to pick out more in another video and kind of go back over my no-buy and maybe talk about some of the palettes that I was so sad I could not buy during it. But for right now, let's go ahead and just go through these palettes, and I'm going to tell you first impression, and actually a couple of them I may go ahead and declutter even after just one try. So if you want to see these palettes and get my thoughts, keep on watching. Okay, let's talk about these 2 Kaleidos palettes. These are from the Futurism collection. This one is the Cyber Bronze palette. You guys, I loved this palette. It is so good. As a matter of fact, I feel like if you have this, you kind of have some of the best shades that are in the bronze section from Pat McGrath, the Mothership. Like this red here is absolutely incredible. The formula is so good on the mattes, and I love this color story. This one is the Sci-Fi Green, and the color story is awesome. Like, it's so pretty, but I don't know, you guys, like, I'm definitely not decluttering this one. I'm going to, give it a second shot. I probably won't declutter it no matter what, because it's really pretty good, and I do love the brand, but I feel like this is a good time to maybe show you this palette from Dose of Colors. This is the Cutting Edge palette. So I also use this one, and let me show it to you. Okay, different tones of greens, a little bit, actually. They're very similar. We don't have the black in this one, and this is a deeper of that kind of orangey brown. But I think I like this one better. Like, I think it performed better. You guys, do not sleep. And also, my lighting is crazy today. It is really dark and gloomy outside, and this is just what I'm working with, and all sorts of like weird when I lift these up. So maybe I should do this side. Okay, that's better. So this 5-pan, I'm telling you, if you've never tried Dose of Colors 5-pan palettes, you are so missing out. They are incredible quality, really affordable, and they kind of made me like 5-pans. 5-pans is really the smallest that I like, but this one's a little bit more affordable, I believe, than this one, and I highly recommend that Dose of Colors. So got those out of the way. This is also a similar-ish color story with some added pop. So this is the Oma Beauty, and it is the Allure palette. You guys, this is an absolutely stunning palette. I love this color story. You've got this pretty pink in here that really ties in well, that you can pair with this kind of deep burgundy. And I love burgundy and yellow together, and the green, and the shimmers in here are so cool. Actually, they remind me a lot of Pat McGrath Motherships, truly, because you have like this one here is really soft, and then you've got grittiness. Here, I'm just going to show you here. You've got that kind of gritty texture that the Motherships can have, that at first you're like, that seems dry. I don't know about that. This one's the one that's like really soft and satiny. Just really beautiful. I think they're a very underrated eyeshadow brand. They have other things too, but their eyeshadows, I feel like, are really underrated. Next, let's just do what's on my eyes today, okay? I really, really like this look. This is not very holiday at all, but I was like, you know what? I just want to do a little bit of like fun color. I guess the blue, the top part could be holiday. The bottom is this like electric orange, coral orange here. So this is the indigo Indigo Ink by Managerie. And oh my gosh, the quality of these, the mattes in here are so good. I feel like now I know formulas a lot better to where as soon as I put my brush in it, I could tell this is a matte kind of like a Blend Bunny matte where it's just so soft and so pigmented, so easy to blend. It is so pretty. The shimmers in here are gorgeous. So I used this one here and this one. This has like a beautiful like brown shift to the blue. And then these mattes are what I used. And then this bright one on the lower lash line. So I can't wait to dip into this red. I have heard from a friend that it stains really badly, especially the red, and they're notorious for doing that. So I'm going to be prepared for that, but I feel like it's worth it when your eye looks this good. Okay, let's go ahead on the topic of motherships. So we have Utopian Dream and Seduction, Moonlight Seduction. All right, this is Utopian Dream. I think we've probably all seen it. Absolutely stunning. I loved my look with this palette. I used it for a date night, and I think it's actually a perfect New Year's palette. I mean, those shimmery, shifty, glittery, sparkly shades, perfect. All right, Moonlight Seduction. To be honest, I am going to have to use this a couple of times. I feel like, because as of right now, like, I feel like I'm Utopian Dream, Bronze Seduction. I also am a big fan of Divine Rose 2. I love Subliminal. I don't know. This was just kind of, I had a difficult time with it, to be honest. I feel like, I mean, Pat McGrath is kind of like that. It is a makeup lover artistry MUA, but you don't have to be an MUA. But a brand new novice trying this palette for the first time, the mattes were not easy to work with at all. So, which I don't really mind that. I don't mind working at it as long as I love my look. And I just kind of, it was okay. I don't know. So I'm going to definitely have to play with it more, but I will tell you, if you've ever tried Pat McGrath and you're like, oh, it's not for me, it's not that good, it's overrated, try it a few times, because they do grow on you and then you start to fall in love. So, you know, that might happen with that palette for me. All right, let's go to the Gemini 1 palette by Melt. This color story is gorgeous. This performed amazing. I absolutely loved my look. I mean, it's really similar. Oh my goodness. Now that I'm looking, I've got a lot of similar palettes in here. And this is why I'm on a palette no buy, you guys, because when you start really shopping your stash, you notice the similarities and you're like, oh, I'm just repeating myself here. Although they're different formulas, textures, you know, sometimes you find a brand that you just prefer more. So it's okay to have a duplicate color story to find out what brand and formula you like best. But I mean, I actually do think I preferred this one over the Kaleidos, but it's just this one because I really, really loved the bronze one of this. But I would prefer this Melt. It's, you know, and Melt, they always say is, you know, hit or miss. Some palettes perform well or not. The Mariposa palette is one of my absolute favorite palettes, and that one performed really well as well. Next, we have the Fairy Frolic Unearthly Cosmetics. Really fun color story, giant pans in here. I really liked this one. I like everything I've tried from Unearthly. Their liquid lipsticks, their palettes, and it's not like one of those blow you away formulas when you use it and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never used anything like this before. But I feel like it's easy to use, interesting color stories, and the looks always turn out really pretty. Next up, we have, this is definitely one of my favorites, the Red Dragon Odin's Eye, and I'm so sorry, it is not available anymore, unfortunately. Here's what I've learned, okay? If you love Odin's Eye, or if you've never tried it, and you see a color story that comes out and it's limited edition, just get it. I mean, even though I'm over here on my no buy, I did not pick up the Christmas palettes because I'm on a no buy and I was trying to be good. I regret it so. That's one of the ones I regret because they're so pretty and the formula is just, it's so good. It's one of those that every time I use it, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. The different textures, it blends well. And this was definitely one of my favorites the past month. All right, next up we have Lethal Cosmetics. So there were a bunch of singles that formed a palette, and this one really surprised me because it's one of those that as I was applying it, I'm like, this was my first time using Lethal, by the way. Kind of like got a theme going on here. But at first I was like, okay, it's pretty, but like, I don't know. As I was applying it, once it was done, there was something about the tones in here that was so unique. Like this shade, yes, it's this one. It looks like it's kind of just this chalky, purpley pink, but it's so hard to pick up on this camera. You're all going to be like, yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, you can't really tell here. The lights are too bright here. But just take my word for it. And I had it on my Instagram story, so be sure you're following me over there because sometimes I show looks just in my story, sometimes on my grid. It was just gorgeous. It had the prettiest tone that I had never seen before. And with this purple here, so gorgeous. So I can't wait to dip more into these. And I have a ton more singles that I bought. So I'm really excited about Lethal. Next up, we have this Hip Dot palette, and I recently posted an Instagram with this, and I really like this blues. It's similar to kind of the blues that I have on today, but I said before, this kind of reminds me of the lunar eclipse from Lunar Beauty, just because of these couple of warm toned browns in here, except for they're a little bit more cool tone in the eclipse, but they're neutrals, and then all the rest are like blues, and this gray is very similar, but there's a few differences. And this is one that I was like, I don't know if this is my favorite formula. Felt a little bit dry. The shimmer was waning. I was like, I don't know. But again, like the look, you couldn't deny it. It looked really pretty, and so I'm all in. I'm all in with these Hip Dot. I don't know about the rest, but the Cenote palette, really good. All right, we have two of my favorites that I used for sure. This Be Perfect Manifest Dream Big. I've had this for so long. It's massive, and it's a popular UK brand. People, MUAs over there swear by it. They use it all the time. And whenever I bought it forever ago, people were like, oh my gosh, you're gonna fall in love with Be Perfect. And then I sat on it forever because I have too many palettes, and they were not kidding. Oh my gosh, there are duochromes, multi-chromes in here, all kinds of textures. The mattes worked so well, and I only did one look, so I can't imagine what else I would come up with. Like, it is worth it. Absolutely. First impressions, I was kind of blown away. All right, this is a very affordable palette. And I talked about this on my TikTok, so be sure and go over there and follow me. But at first I was like, I don't know that I will keep this before I used it, because I'm like, I'm really not into this anymore. These big palettes with these early on I was, and I bought this a long time ago. I know Moira's quality is really good. Like their eyeshadows are so nice, and it is so worth it to check them out because they're very affordable. This performed incredibly. Absolutely incredibly. These all look really pretty on the face. The mattes in here are like Blend Bunny almost level, but so much cheaper. And the shimmer was beautiful. Like, blown away. Moira, if you have not tried out, all their products are really good. But like their eyeshadows are excellent. Now let me show you the three. So two of these I think I will declutter for sure. One is on the chopping block. So this is the one on the chopping block. It is the Lorac palette, the Fairy Tale Forest, and I wanted this so bad when it came out, and I was like, I have to have it. And then I waited till it went on sale, and I was so excited, and then I didn't use it forever. Why I'm doing this whole kind of series, but it just, compared to my other palettes, it is not there. It is just, it's not. And it's a neutral palette, with a green and I've got better. I've got better neutrals. My Moira Cosmetics neutrals are better. My LA girl palettes that are neutral performed similarly, and they're a lot cheaper. So this is probably on the chopping block. I'll try it one more time. This one's going. This was bad. This is the Violet Voss Wild Dahlia palette. It looks really pretty. Like, this color story I think is so nice. And this is kind of like a duochrome, brown to green, but it doesn't shine. It's flat. The mattes were not that good or pigmented. So this one's going to be decluttered. And then this one we have here is the Sample Beauty palette. And I used this in another video where I did a monochromatic yellow look. And I did really like my look, partially because I brought in an indie brand, It's Belle Cosmetics loose pigment. But it's not terrible. It's just that when I bought this, I was still getting into all my eyeshadows and brands. And since then, I have Blend Bunny. I have the Surge palette. I have the Blends palette. I have just other mattes that are similar. There's no reason. And I've got that Big B Perfect palette I just showed you. And I think if you're starting out and you don't want to spend a lot of money, because this is super cheap, like I think like $10 or $12, and you get all of these. So if you're just starting out and you don't know a lot of other formulas and you don't want to spend a lot, you just want one big palette with lots of bright colors and a few neutrals, then this might be good for you. But if you've tried a lot of formulas, just skip it. So I'm going to declutter that. That is it, you guys. So that is my little review of all the palettes that I used over the course of a month. And I'm loving this. I'm actually really enjoying my no-buy. It's just a couple that I'm like, oh, I wish I had it. But that'll be more in the next video. I'm going to pick out more palettes in that video that I have not touched yet, show them to you, and I'll go over the things that I really am sad I didn't get to buy in my no-buy. And hopefully this helps you guys start to learn your collection better, and so you don't make mistakes like I do about just buying a lot of repetitive color stories. Anyway, you guys, as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping. Bye.